Imagine shaving a chunk of your 5K or half marathon time, not by training harder, but by fixing a problem with your breathing you're probably not even aware of right now. So many of us lace up, head out, and pound the pavement expecting to see improvements, yet time and time again, we're left frustrated, wondering why our endurance and speed aren't improving the way they really should. It's not necessarily that you're on the wrong training plan or wearing the wrong shoes. It's often something as fundamental as the way we breathe. As a running coach who's also been asthmatic since childhood, I can definitely speak to the power of getting your breathing under control. A simple tweak in your breathing could make all the difference between breaking personal records rather than simply breaking a sweat. Now, what if you've been breathing wrong all this time? How would you even begin to correct it? Let's take a closer look. Breathing isn't just about sucking in oxygen and blowing out carbon dioxide. It's a fundamental signal of balance within our bodies. Achieving a flow state in your running hinges specifically on your falling into an effective breathing rhythm, with a breathing technique that maximizes each breath's potential. In fact, harmonious, dynamic breathing enhances the coordination between our cardiovascular and muscular systems and your stride mechanics, leading to more fluid running. Now, let's talk about Peter, who's been building his running mileage since he started running 9 months ago. Up until recently, he'd been getting frustrated over the feeling of hitting a limit with his running. It wasn't his legs giving out or the feeling of low energy levels, it was his breathing. Particularly when trying to run faster, like when pushing to improve his 5K time, he'd often revert to shallow, rapid breaths. Sometimes he almost felt like he was beginning to hyperventilate and would have to stop and walk. Pete isn't alone in this, whether it's through the effect of chronic stress or during acute, intense running sessions. Many of us end up resorting to inefficient upper chest breathing. But the solution, while simple, requires awareness and consistency. Firstly, nose breathing is an absolute game changer. Breathing through the nose humidifies and filters the air and actually engages the diaphragm, making our breathing a little bit more efficient. We'll talk about diaphragmatic breathing in a moment, but the thing about nasal breathing is that nitric oxide is also released into your body with each nose breath, which can actually improve oxygen uptake by a staggering 18%. Secondly, it's about finding the right pattern. Depending on the intensity of your run, from a leisurely recovery run to gut-busting sprints, your breathing rhythm should vary. For instance, during recovery runs, you might adopt a 4-4 pattern, so inhale for 4 strides, exhale for 4. But for high-intensity sessions, a 2-1 pattern might be more appropriate. But how do you go about putting these breathing tips into action? Well, let's dive deeper into the practical side of this. Let's consider Shona, who used to not only struggle with breathing on the run, but also side stitches. On reading James Nestor's great book, Breath, she took away 2 tips that completely transformed her running. Consistently inhaling through the nose and aiming for deeper, slower breaths. Visualizing herself breathing down into her belly rather than her upper chest. Slowing her breathing down and focusing on taking deeper breaths to a rhythm that complemented her stride pattern not only made her side stitches become a thing of the past, but she also started feeling more in control of her pace and could run longer and faster without the same fatigue as before. And remember, good posture complements proper breathing. Hold yourself tall as you run with relaxed shoulders and focus on the backward drive of your arm swing to open up your chest and make space for full, deep breaths. However, all of this means very little if you don't anticipate the common pitfalls. There's one that you might not have seen coming: hydration. Drinking enough water ensures that your respiratory pathways remain well hydrated, making it easier for you to breathe efficiently. The next thing to work on if you want to run faster without getting so tired is your pacing, specifically making sure that you're training at the right pace, which so many runners don't. The video on screen right now shows you exactly how to figure out your perfect training pace to improve your endurance and speed. Check that out, and I'll see you over there.